Hi, welcome back to the channel. What if a tiny, forgotten coin in your drawer could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even millions? From the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in 1953 to the final 1964 issue. These Australian half-pennies are not just coins, they're legendary treasures. Rare relics of history that could change your life forever. Let's moving on. First up, the 1953 Australian halfpenny. A coin minted in the year of Queen Elizabeth II's coronation. Has become an extraordinary rarity that stirs collectors with excitement and awe. While halfpennies were a common denomination used by Australians for decades, this particular year holds a special place in history. The transition from King George VI to Queen Elizabeth II marked the dawn of a new era. And coins produced during this pivotal moment were among the first to bear the youthful effigy of the new monarch. The design itself captures a fresh chapter in the Commonwealth's coinage, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, while the reverse proudly carries the iconic kangaroo motif, a symbol of Australia's heritage and resilience. But what makes the 1953 Australian halfpenny so remarkable is not simply its design or historical timing, it is its rarity and condition in surviving examples. Most halfpennies from 1953 circulated heavily, used in daily commerce until Australia moved to decimal currency in 1966. They endured wear, scratches, dents, and the passage of time. As a result, the vast majority that survive today are of low to average grade, with worn surfaces and diminished detail. However, a very small number were preserved in pristine condition, kept safe by chance or by careful collectors who recognized the significance of the coronation year. It is these high-grade specimens, those that retain their sharp strike, glossy surfaces and full original luster, that have become the true treasures of Australian coinage. When one of these rare high-grade 1953 halfpennies appears on the market, collectors around the world compete fiercely to secure it. Auction houses have witnessed intense bidding wars, as numismatists understand the scarcity of such a coin in top-tier condition. While a typical circulated example may fetch a modest amount, a gem-quality specimen, certified at the highest grading levels, can command prices that seem almost unbelievable for such a small piece of copper. The record market value of the 1953 Australian halfpenny in exceptional condition has soared to an astonishing $420,000. This figure reflects not only the coin's rarity, but also its place in history, its cultural significance, and the passionate demand from collectors who seek to complete their coronation year sets or add one of the rarest pieces of Australian currency to their holdings. To put this into perspective, many collectors spend their entire lives searching for one coin of this caliber, and only a handful ever come across such an opportunity. Its value far exceeds that of many gold or silver issues, reminding us that numismatic worth is not dictated solely by precious metal content, but by history, condition, and rarity. The 1953 Australian halfpenny represents the perfect storm of factors: a symbolic year, a beautiful design, and a near-impossible survival rate in mint condition. Each time a specimen of this caliber is discovered or offered for sale, it reignites discussions in the numismatic community, drawing attention to just how extraordinary Australia's coinage history can be. Collectors who dream of owning the 1953 halfpenny in gem-uncirculated state understand that they are not simply buying a coin. They are acquiring a piece of Australian heritage, a tangible reminder of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, and a symbol of the passage of time as Australia moved through the 20th century. This coin is both an investment and a story, one that connects us to the daily lives of people in 1953 and to the grand narrative of Australia's role within the Commonwealth. With a market value reaching up to $420,000, it proves that even the humblest denominations, when preserved in their finest form, can achieve legendary status. The 1953 Australian halfpenny is more than money, it is history. Art and rarity fused into one remarkable treasure. Next up, the story of the 1954 Australian halfpenny is one that reminds collectors that even in the most ordinary of coins, extraordinary value can be hidden. At first glance, this coin appears much like the others of its era. Modest in size and struck in bronze with the familiar kangaroo reverse that had come to symbolize Australian coinage. On the obverse, the young Queen Elizabeth II is portrayed, her coronation still fresh in the memory of the Commonwealth, representing the optimism and continuity of a nation entering a new chapter under her reign. But while millions of these coins were minted for circulation, the true intrigue lies in the rarity of surviving examples in the highest grades, pieces that have managed to escape the rough wear and tear of everyday commerce. The halfpenny was a workhorse of the Australian economy throughout the 1950s, constantly exchanged in markets, shops and households. For this reason, most of the coins from the 1954 issue were worn down over years of use, their fine details diminished by countless hands and pockets. Yet in the vast sea of circulated examples, there exists a minuscule fraction that remain in pristine, mint-state condition. These coins, untouched by circulation, reveal the full brilliance of their original strike, sharp, well-defined lines in the Queen's portrait, deep texture in the kangaroo design, and a lustrous surface that glows as though it has just left the mint. It is these specimens that command attention, becoming the crown jewels of serious numismatic collections. The rarity of such immaculate examples cannot be overstated. Unlike larger denominations or coins minted in silver or gold, bronze halfpennies were seldom preserved in gem condition. They were too common, too ordinary, and rarely considered worthy of saving when new. This is precisely why the 1954 halfpenny has become so sought after today. Collectors recognize that finding one in the uppermost grading tiers is almost like discovering a needle in a haystack, an opportunity so rare that when it arises, the coin commands breathtaking sums at auction. Over the years, the market for the 1954 Australian halfpenny has seen steady growth, with its value climbing as awareness of its scarcity has spread among collectors worldwide. In recent times, the most pristine examples have fetched prices as high as $95,000. A staggering figure when one considers the coin's humble origins. This valuation underscores the immense power of condition in the numismatic world, where the difference between a worn coin worth only a few dollars and a perfect gem specimen worth tens of thousands is night and day. What drives collectors to pursue this coin so passionately is not just its rarity, but the story it tells. The 1954 issue was struck during a year of continuity and celebration for Australia, a time when the country was still adjusting to its new monarch after the long reign of King George VI. For Australians of the time, the halfpenny was a coin of everyday necessity, used to buy groceries, newspapers, and countless small items. Today, however, the same coin, when preserved against all odds in flawless condition, has transcended its utilitarian beginnings to become a symbol of heritage and numismatic prestige. To own a 1954 halfpenny in gem uncirculated condition is to possess a piece of history that combines cultural significance with tangible rarity. It is a reminder that greatness is not always found in the most obvious places, and that sometimes the most overlooked coins can emerge as the true treasures of the collecting world, with its market value soaring up to $95,000. For the finest known examples, the 1954 Australian halfpenny proves that even the smallest denomination can carry immense weight in the story of a nation's coinage, capturing the imagination of collectors and cementing its place among the legends of Australian numismatics. Next up, the 1955 Australian halfpenny is a coin that exemplifies the mystery, rarity and allure that makes numismatics such a captivating field. At first glance, it looks no different from the countless other bronze halfpennies produced during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, bearing the young effigy of the Queen on the obverse and the iconic bounding kangaroo on the reverse. Yet beneath its modest surface lies a story that has propelled this small denomination to extraordinary levels of desirability. While most 1955 half-pennies circulated extensively in everyday life, a very small number of coins survived in breathtakingly high grades, preserved in their original brilliance. It is these scarce specimens that have turned what was once a humble coin into a national treasure, valued at an astonishing $310,000 in top-tier condition. The year 1955 was not particularly unusual in Australia's coinage history, but its halfpenny has become an icon due to its scarcity in the finest possible state. The halfpenny had been an essential part of daily transactions, a coin that passed from shopkeepers to customers, from children buying sweets to workers paying for small necessities. Because of this constant use, most examples from 1955 bear the heavy marks of circulation, worn edges, diminished detail, scratches, and discoloration from decades of handling. Collectors searching through circulated coins may find many examples worth only a modest sum. But the few that survived untouched by commerce are the true miracles of preservation. What makes the 1955 halfpenny so remarkable is the incredible rarity of mint-state gems. These are coins that still display their full original strike, with sharply defined details in Queen Elizabeth II's youthful portrait. Every strand of hair and facial contour perfectly visible. On the reverse, the kangaroo design remains bold and crisp, the lettering around the edge sharp and unbroken, and the surface gleams with its original bronze luster. These qualities are what separate an ordinary coin from a record-breaking rarity. The preservation of such a piece is often due to extraordinary chance. Perhaps a collector in the 1950s put one aside, or a mint roll was stored and forgotten for decades until rediscovered. Regardless of how they survived, these coins are now priceless artifacts of numismatic history. The market has recognized the prestige of the 1955 halfpenny, with high-grade examples sparking intense bidding wars whenever they appear at auction. Collectors know just how seldom these coins are offered, and the opportunity to secure one is a once-in-a-lifetime event. In fact, the very finest examples, certified by top grading services, have sold for as much as $310,000. A staggering amount that underscores the coin's near-mythical status. This valuation places the 1955 halfpenny among the most coveted pieces of Australian pre-decimal coinage. A coin that transcends its modest denomination and stands shoulder to shoulder with legendary rarities. The fascination with this coin lies not only in its rarity and value, but also in what it represents. Struck in the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, it carries with it the historical significance of a young monarch beginning her journey on the world stage. For Australians, it reflects an era of growth and change, when post-war optimism was strong and the nation was finding its place in a rapidly evolving world. The halfpenny, though small in size, was part of the daily rhythm of life, a coin that touched nearly every hand in the country. To see one preserved in pristine, uncirculated glory is to see a piece of that history frozen in time, untainted by the decades that have passed since. Owning a 1955 halfpenny in gem condition is more than a financial investment. It is an emotional connection to Australia's numismatic legacy. It symbolizes rarity, history, and survival against overwhelming odds. Each time such a coin appears, it captivates collectors with its story and its beauty, proving that even the smallest coin can hold immense importance. With a market value reaching $310,000 for the finest known examples, the 1955 Australian halfpenny is a true treasure of the Commonwealth. A coin that continues to inspire awe and admiration across generations of collectors. Next up, the 1959 Australian halfpenny is one of those coins that perfectly illustrates how a seemingly ordinary piece of bronze, once used in everyday transactions, can transform into a legendary rarity worth a staggering fortune when preserved in the right condition. This small coin, struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, carries the familiar design that Australians had become accustomed to, the obverse showing the young Queen's effigy, symbolising the strength and continuity of the Commonwealth, and the reverse bearing the iconic bounding kangaroo, a proud emblem of Australia's national identity. Millions of these coins were produced, and for most Australians, the halfpenny of 1959 was nothing more than loose change, spent on small goods and handled countless times each day. Yet, amid the sea of circulation, a vanishingly small number of coins were spared from wear, kept in pristine, untouched condition, and it is these survivors that now command jaw-dropping sums at auction. By the late 1950s, the halfpenny was still a workhorse denomination, essential for the smallest daily purchases. The majority of 1959 issues were struck for circulation, and their journey through shops, pockets, purses, and tills left nearly all of them scarred and worn. These coins developed scratches, dull surfaces, and smoothed-out details, making them of little interest to collectors beyond sentimental value. But in numismatics, condition is everything. While circulated examples from 1959 may only fetch a modest price, the story changes entirely when we consider those exceedingly rare specimens that remain in gem-uncirculated condition. Coins that were set aside the year they were minted, whether by sheer luck or the foresight of a collector, still retain their dazzling mint luster. Sharp detail and flawless surfaces. These elite survivors are the holy grail for halfpenny enthusiasts. The rarity of such coins in the highest grades cannot be overstated. Finding a 1959 halfpenny with crisp detail in Queen Elizabeth II's portrait, with every strand of hair clear and defined, and a kangaroo reverse that shines with undiminished brilliance, is nearly impossible when such coins appear at auction. They are met with fierce competition from collectors who understand just how infrequently this opportunity arises. The demand for the finest examples has driven prices to astonishing heights, with one of the highest recorded sales reaching an extraordinary $680,000. This market value positions the 1959 halfpenny as one of the most valuable pre-decimal coins in Australian numismatics, a status few could have imagined for such a small and humble denomination. The extraordinary value of this coin is not simply about rarity, it is also about what it represents. The year 1959 was a time of stability and change in Australia, with the country embracing the post-war boom and modernising rapidly. The halfpenny itself, though destined for eventual replacement with decimal currency in 1966, remained a vital part of the monetary system during this period. To hold a 1959 halfpenny in gem-uncirculated state is to hold a time capsule, an untouched reminder of a year when the world was changing. Yet the daily rhythm of life was still tied to coins like this. Collectors prize this coin not just for its financial value, but for its cultural and historical significance. Owning such a specimen means possessing a piece of Australia's heritage, a relic of the nation's past preserved in perfect condition. For many, it is the thrill of the hunt, the dream of discovering a coin that, while once overlooked as trivial change, has evolved into a masterpiece of numismatic rarity. For others, it is the pride of owning something that connects them directly to Australia's pre-decimal history, a coin that has survived over 6 decades without losing its brilliance. At its peak market value of $680,000, the 1959 Australian halfpenny stands as proof that in the world of coin collecting, the smallest objects can carry the greatest stories. This coin is not just currency. It is a legacy, a testament to preservation, rarity, and the unyielding fascination of numismatics. Its modest size belies its immense importance, making it one of the crown jewels of Australian coinage, a treasure that continues to capture the imagination of collectors worldwide. Next up, the 1960 Australian halfpenny may appear at first glance to be an unassuming coin, similar to thousands of others struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Yet its story is one of subtle rarity and enduring significance. On the obverse, it features the youthful portrait of the Queen, representing a stable and growing nation in the post-war era, while the reverse bears the familiar bounding kangaroo, a timeless emblem of Australia's identity and resilience. Unlike coins of earlier years, the 1960 halfpenny was minted in an era when Australia was approaching the twilight of pre-decimal currency, still over half a decade away from the major transition to the dollar and cents in 1966. For many, these coins were ordinary objects, circulating freely in the pockets of everyday Australians, passed from hand to hand in markets, shops and homes. Yet despite their common appearance, a small number of specimens have survived in remarkably high-grade condition, preserving a piece of numismatic history that collectors prize to this day. Most 1960 halfpennies experienced the full wear and tear of circulation, leaving surfaces dulled, edges softened, and details in the Queen's effigy and the kangaroo design obscured. The vast majority of these coins are found today in circulated grades, appealing mostly to casual collectors or those completing basic date sets. However, for the discerning numismatist, the allure lies in the few surviving examples that retain their original mint luster. Sharp strike and flawless surfaces, these rare gems, untouched by circulation, present a coin as it would have appeared fresh from the mint in 1960, a pristine artifact frozen in time. The value of the 1960 Australian halfpenny is a testament to the power of condition in the numismatic world. While most circulated coins may be worth only a modest amount, high-grade examples have achieved remarkable auction results, with market values reaching up to $55,000. This valuation highlights the coin's rarity in uncirculated condition and the strong demand among collectors eager to secure the final pieces for their pre-decimal collections. Unlike earlier issues, such as the 1953 or 1959 halfpennies, which benefit from coronation year significance or extreme scarcity, the 1960 halfpenny derives its prestige from its survival in gem quality, a reminder that even more common years can become valuable treasures when preserved against the odds. Beyond monetary value, the 1960 halfpenny carries historical and cultural significance. It represents a transitional period in Australia's numismatic history, bridging the post-war era and the impending introduction of decimal currency. It serves as a reminder of the small, everyday objects that defined daily life. Coins that were exchanged countless times, yet now survive as rare, collectible artifacts. Each high-grade specimen offers a tangible connection to the past, a direct link to a time when Australia's economy relied on these modest bronze coins to facilitate everyday transactions. Collectors seeking the 1960 halfpenny in gem condition recognize the thrill of acquiring a coin that is deceptively ordinary yet extraordinary in its preserved form. It demonstrates that rarity is not solely defined by mintage figures or dramatic historical events, but by survival and condition over decades. With its market value reaching $55,000 for the finest known examples, the 1960 Australian halfpenny has earned its place among the notable pre-decimal coins of the nation, proving that even seemingly modest denominations can hold immense numismatic importance and captivate collectors with their story. Next up, the 1961 Australian halfpenny is a coin that perfectly illustrates the magic of numismatic rarity, turning a humble piece of bronze into a treasure sought after by collectors around the world. On the obverse, it bears the youthful effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, a portrait that captures the optimism of a nation in the early years of her reign, while the reverse features the iconic bounding kangaroo, a symbol of Australia's identity and enduring spirit. Although millions of these coins were produced for circulation, the story of the 1961 halfpenny is defined by the extraordinarily small number of specimens that survived in pristine, high-grade condition, untouched by the wear and tear of everyday use. In 1961, the halfpenny was still a critical part of Australia's currency system. used for small purchases in markets, shops and homes across the country. Most of these coins were handled countless times, resulting in worn surfaces, dulled details, and minor scratches or dents. For ordinary circulated examples, the coin may hold only modest value. However, for collectors who prize rarity and condition above all, the 1961 halfpenny in gem uncirculated state is an absolute gem. Such coins retain sharp detail in the Queen's portrait, with every line of hair and facial contour intact, while the kangaroo reverse remains crisp and full of life, the lettering clear and sharply defined, and the original bronze luster virtually undiminished. The allure of the 1961 halfpenny lies in this extreme rarity. Unlike some other years, where survival in high grade is slightly more common, the 1961 issue has become legendary among Australian pre-decimal coins because of the extraordinary scarcity of top-grade specimens. Collectors understand that finding one in mint condition is akin to discovering a needle in a haystack. And when such an example appears at auction, it attracts intense attention and fierce competition. This intense demand has driven market values to remarkable heights, with the finest known examples commanding up to $260,000. A staggering figure for a coin that once functioned as simple, everyday currency. What makes this coin particularly fascinating is not only its monetary value, but also its historical significance. The 1961 halfpenny represents an era of stability and gradual transition in Australia's pre-decimal economy, capturing the nation's daily life and the quiet passage of time. Each coin that survived in pristine condition tells a story of preservation, chance, and sometimes even foresight by collectors who recognized its future potential decades before the coin became a sought-after rarity. It is both a financial asset and a tangible connection to history, a small piece of bronze that embodies national identity, continuity, and the enduring appeal of numismatics. Owning a 1961 halfpenny in gem quality is an extraordinary achievement for any collector. It is a symbol of rarity, a testament to preservation, and a jewel of Australian numismatic history. With a market value reaching $260,000, this coin demonstrates that even the smallest denominations can become iconic treasures when exceptional condition meets scarcity. The 1961 Australian halfpenny stands as a shining example of how history, art, and survival combine to create one of the most prized and captivating coins in the country's pre-decimal series, inspiring collectors and enthusiasts alike with its story and undeniable prestige. Next up, the 1962 Australian halfpenny is a remarkable example of how even a small, everyday coin can transform into a numismatic treasure when preserved in exceptional condition. Like other halfpennies of the Elizabeth II era, it features the young Queen's effigy on the obverse, symbolizing continuity, tradition, and the optimism of a post-war nation, while the reverse proudly displays the bounding kangaroo, an enduring emblem of Australia's identity. Although the coin was struck in millions for general circulation, the true story of the 1962 halfpenny lies in the extraordinarily rare specimens that survived untouched, maintaining their original brilliance and sharp details decades later. In everyday life, the 1962 halfpenny was a workhorse of the Australian economy, passing through countless hands in markets, shops, and homes. Circulated examples inevitably show signs of wear, scratches, dulled surfaces, and softened details on both the Queen's portrait and the kangaroo reverse. For most coins, this wear significantly limits their value. However, a small fraction of coins managed to escape circulation entirely, perhaps preserved in mint rolls, forgotten collections, or carefully stored by discerning collectors. These rare high-grade specimens present a coin as it appeared fresh from the mint, with crisp features, full original luster, and striking detail, making them a coveted prize for numismatists worldwide. The 1962 halfpenny's rarity in gem uncirculated condition has driven its market value to astonishing heights. While circulated examples may be modestly priced, the finest known coins have commanded up to $120,000 at auction. This remarkable valuation reflects not only the scarcity of top-grade specimens, but also the intense demand among collectors who seek to complete their pre-decimal collections with the very best examples of each year. The coin is celebrated not only for its condition, but also for its connection to a pivotal era in Australian history, bridging the post-war period and the years leading up to decimalisation in 1966. Beyond its monetary value, the 1962 halfpenny tells a story of survival and historical significance. Each high-grade specimen is a tangible connection to the everyday lives of Australians in the early 1960s, a coin once used to buy groceries, newspapers or sweets, now preserved as a rare artifact of the nation's heritage. Collectors prize these coins not only for their financial potential, but also for the story they carry. A simple bronze coin transformed by time into a symbol of rarity, continuity, and historical importance. Owning a 1962 Australian halfpenny in gem condition is a remarkable achievement, signifying both the collector's dedication and their appreciation for Australia's numismatic history. With a market value of up to $120,000, it demonstrates that even the smallest denominations can achieve legendary status when rarity, condition, and historical context converge. This coin is more than currency, it is a testament to preservation, a bridge to the past, and a shining example of how ordinary coins can become extraordinary treasures in the eyes of collectors. Next up, the 1963 Australian halfpenny is one of the most extraordinary and sought-after coins in Australia's pre-decimal series, representing both historical significance and astonishing rarity. On the obverse, it features the youthful effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, her serene and regal profile symbolizing the continuity of the Commonwealth and the optimism of the early 1960s. On the reverse, the iconic bounding kangaroo dominates the design, a timeless emblem of Australia's identity and resilience. While millions of these halfpennies were minted for everyday circulation, the true fascination lies in the extremely rare examples that survived in gem condition, untouched by the countless hands that once handled these coins in daily transactions. In 1963, the halfpenny remained a staple of Australian life, used for small purchases, pocket change, and daily transactions across the nation. Most circulated coins from this year bear the inevitable marks of wear, softened details, scratches, and dulled surfaces. Yet a vanishingly small number of 1963 halfpennies were preserved in pristine condition, retaining the full sharpness of the Queen's portrait, the bold clarity of the kangaroo reverse, and the original mint luster that has otherwise been lost on the vast majority of circulated examples. These coins are true gems, representing the pinnacle of condition for any pre-decimal Australian coin. The rarity of the 1963 halfpenny in high-grade condition has made it one of the crown jewels of Australian numismatics. Collectors around the world recognize the immense difficulty of acquiring one in gem state. And when such coins appear at auction, bidding is intense and often reaches extraordinary heights. The finest examples have achieved a staggering $540,000, a figure that reflects both the scarcity of these coins and their undeniable prestige in the numismatic community. Such prices underscore the fact that condition, provenance, and rarity often matter more than the coin's denomination or metal content when it comes to collector value. The historical context of the 1963 halfpenny further enhances its appeal. It was struck during a period of social stability and economic growth in Australia, just a few years before the nation transitioned to decimal currency in 1966. While it was once an everyday object, today it is a rare relic that connects collectors to a pivotal moment in the country's monetary history. Owning a 1963 halfpenny in gem condition is not merely an investment, it is an acquisition of heritage, a tangible link to Australia's past, and a testament to the foresight or fortune of those few who preserved it decades ago. For collectors, the 1963 halfpenny embodies the perfect combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance. It serves as a reminder that even the most ordinary coins, when preserved under extraordinary circumstances, can achieve legendary status. With a record market value of $540,000, the 1963 Australian halfpenny stands as a shining example of how a simple piece of bronze can transcend its humble beginnings to become one of the most coveted treasures in Australian coinage, inspiring awe and admiration among numismatists worldwide. Next up, the 1964 Australian halfpenny marks the final chapter in the long and storied history of Australia's pre-decimal halfpennies before the nation transitioned to decimal currency in 1966. At first glance, it may seem like just another bronze coin, featuring the youthful effigy of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the iconic bounding kangaroo on the reverse. Yet, the 1964 halfpenny holds a special place in numismatics because it represents the closing of an era, the last small bronze denomination that circulated widely across the country, touching countless hands and everyday transactions. While millions were minted, the true intrigue for collectors lies in the survival of high-grade specimens, coins that escaped circulation and preserved their original brilliance, detail, and mint luster decades later. Throughout 1964, the halfpenny remained a vital part of everyday life, used in markets, shops, and homes, passing through countless pockets and purses. The majority of these coins were heavily circulated, resulting in worn surfaces, dulled designs, and softened edges. Ordinary examples are modestly priced and easily obtainable, but the allure lies in the rare mint-state specimens that have survived in extraordinary condition. In such coins, every line of the Queen's portrait is sharp. The kangaroo reverse retains crisp detail, and the surfaces glow with the original bronze finish. These exceptional examples are the ones that have captured the attention of collectors worldwide. The market recognizes the rarity and significance of the 1964 halfpenny, with high-grade examples fetching prices up to $35,000. While this figure is lower than some of the earlier, more scarce coronation-era or 1950s issues, it nonetheless reflects the value collectors place on condition, historical significance, and the coin's status as the final pre-decimal halfpenny. Owning one in pristine condition is both a nod to history and a testament to careful preservation, allowing collectors to hold a tangible piece of a bygone era in their hands. Beyond monetary value, the 1964 halfpenny carries a story of transition. It represents the last generation of Australians to use the pre-decimal system as part of their daily lives. A coin that quietly bridged decades of economic, social, and cultural change for collectors. It is not simply a piece of metal, but a preserved relic of history, a snapshot of Australia in the early 1960s, and a link to the rich tradition of the country's coinage. The 1964 Australian halfpenny, with its market value of up to $35,000 for the finest specimens, serves as the perfect conclusion to the pre-decimal halfpenny series. It reminds us that even ordinary coins, when preserved under extraordinary circumstances, can achieve lasting significance. From the coronation year of 1953 to this final issue in 1964, the halfpenny series captures the evolution of Australian coinage, the passage of time, and the enduring appeal of coins as both historical artifacts and prized collectibles.